Hi, my name is Christy and I am an individual, marriage, and family counselor at Healing Hearts of Indy. We are located in Indianapolis, Indiana. Today I want to talk about signs that your spouse may be having an affair. So recently I was reading an article, and the article was talking about the top 5 signs that your spouse is cheating on you. And in reading the article, the reasons that the article gave were really good. You know, they were red flags for if somebody's having an affair. You know, they normally keep their phone really open, and they start having a password on it. They keep it hidden. You don't ever see it. They start a new hobby to where they're never home. They're gone all the time. They're distant. They start to try new things in the bedroom that they haven't done before. All of the reasons that the article gave were really, like I said, good red flags or things that people might want to pay attention to if they start seeing some of those dynamics in their marriage. So in that instance, that part of the article was really good, but I also felt like the article was missing a really important point on this topic that it didn't discuss, which was the spouse of the person having an affair also has to be ready to see the signs that are right there. You know, unfortunately, I just had client after client who has been in this situation, and when they come in and we start working through, you know, the issue of the spouse having an affair, the spouse that was cheated on 9 times out of 10 said, I knew. I had a feeling, or I thought it was going on, but I didn't pursue it more, or I would question them and they would give me an answer and I would believe that it was true, and I didn't look into it any further. And that's a big part of this, is that if you're not ready to see it and to deal with the issue going on, then it doesn't matter if your spouse is wearing a big sign that says, I'm having an affair on you, you won't be able to see it. You know, our brains, we have psychological defenses, and we put those defenses up to protect ourselves and to try not to feel pain. And so in that situation, if your psychological defenses go up, you see signs that things are going on and you put them up, then you can rationalize why those signs really aren't what they are, or you can deny them, or you can minimize them, whatever it might be, so that you don't have to deal with the pain that you have been abandoned by your spouse, that your spouse is being unfaithful to you. Knowing that your spouse is being unfaithful is, you know, horribly painful, and you know, people go through a really decent amount of time of pain and grief to heal from something like that. And so our brains are trying to keep us from going there, so we, you know, may not pay attention to the signs that are right in front of our face. You know, I've had clients who have found phone numbers in their husband's briefcases, or noticed that their wife was texting somebody a lot, but you know, again, the husband, well, those are just business email addresses, or, you know, just somebody I was flirting with, and it won't happen again. But then the wife never follows up, and she never checks to make sure he hasn't done it again, because again, she's not really ready psychologically to face what might be going on. Clients that just, you know, I could tell that they were distant, and I could tell that, you know, they were hiding their phone, so I knew that something must be going on. But every time I questioned my spouse about it, he got really angry, and I don't like anger, so I just backed down and didn't push it any further. But again, as part of that is protecting yourself, to say, I'm just not ready to see what is right there in front of me. So it's really important for you to kind of evaluate where you are, if you see some of those signs going on, and saying, am I being realistic about what I'm seeing about these signs? Am I rationalizing them? Am I minimizing them? Is there more going on than what my spouse is telling me? You know, people come in to my office, and you know, unfortunately, some of them will say, you know, I've known for like a year my spouse was having an affair. Sometimes it's days, sometimes it's months, sometimes it's even years, where people aren't able to really confront the truth. And you know, again, the truth equals reality of having to deal with the fact that, you know, your marriage is going to be turned upside down. Is your marriage going to make it? Can you deal with the pain that comes with your spouse having an affair? So all of these things are really important to take into consideration. And what counseling can do for you is help you be real about what you're seeing, about what you're feeling. I am a true believer that our gut instincts are right almost all of the time, but it's so easy to push them aside, or along the way we've been trained throughout our life to not listen to them because people criticize when we do, or we have felt pain when we do, so we've just kind of pretend that those aren't there. But usually what you feel in your gut is right. So it's time for you to kind of take an honest look. If you feel like some of those signs are there, or you're starting to suspect that your spouse is pulling away, or they're not as sexual with you as they used to be, or you feel like they're gone a lot more than they used to be, and that's something that you want to examine, maybe the first step is for you to come in and try to figure out where you are, and let us really look at the signs and the feelings that you have to see, if there's something more going on, or if, your spouse isn't being unfaithful. But again, you have to be ready to see it. Just because you're not ready to see it doesn't mean that it's not happening, but it just means that you're not ready to deal with the pain. So if you have any, if you want to learn more about this topic, if you think there may be some infidelity in your marriage that you want to start looking through, if you have caught your spouse and you need to have a guide to kind of help you through the grief and healing process. Again, my name is Christy, and I'm at Healing Hearts of Indy in Indianapolis, Indiana, and my email address is Christy, CHRISTY, at healingheartsofIndy.com. So please contact me if you have any further questions or want to learn more on this topic. Thank you.